Tokyo. Given everything you've been through in the last 2 years, all these life-changing events, were you surprised that you were able to go through all that and then still break one of your world records, given how fast your times already are? Or did it come as given everything the last 2 years?
I wouldn't say surprised. I think obviously being in my position and having broken 13 world records before the 14th one, I think it gets harder. It's not any easier being me and having the times that I have to go best times. But the work that I've put in over this past year, especially since March, April, has just been really, really good. Some of my best training I've ever put in. So that gives me a lot of confidence, and I'm someone that really takes confidence from practice and translates it into my racing. So that's something that I know that if I can train that way still, I can race that way still, and can still push my boundaries and see what I can do when I step up on the blocks. So it's never easy, and it's something that I know that it only gets harder as you get faster, to go faster and to break those times or beat those times. And it can be little things that can make a difference up or down on the times. So it's all about trying to find those small details and improve on those.
Wayne and then Nicky.
Katie Wayne's race from ESPN. I'm curious, I think of Missy Franklin, others who've gone through this transition, and it hasn't always been easy. Did you draw from any of those experiences as swimmers before you to perhaps make this an easier transition for you?
Yeah, I think over the last couple years being on the national team and being on the international stage, I've observed a lot and have heard a lot, and I've tried to take in everything that I've learned and apply that to my swimming. And I think it's not necessarily certain athletes, but just overall everything that I've learned from competing at that stage and being around some of the very best athletes on this national team. And the US has the very best, and we have some experienced veterans that have led the way over these last couple of years that I try to take as much in as I can from them. So a lot of that I did take into account when I made that decision to turn professional this year, just knowing that I have a little bit of time between now and 2020, and that's something that I talked about with my coach Greg, and just really kind of laid out a plan for these next 2 years. And we knew that there is the potential to have that transition period and kind of have that buffer of time between now and 2020 to become a professional and learn what that's all about and settle into the training rhythm. And it's a different schedule, not competing in NCAA, and just there's small little things like that. So we wanted to start that process as early as we could and just learn from it. And so far so good, and I'm having fun, and that's the most important thing.
Katie, what are a couple of ways your schedule has changed since you've turned pro? I imagine there's more commitments, more to-do lists, things like that. Do you have a couple examples of what that's been like?
It hasn't been extremely different. I guess my practice schedule changed just a little bit, but for the most part, I'm still training with the college team, and that's been great. I've signed with Tier, which has been awesome, and that's been a great partnership so far. So there's that, and I was finishing up school. Our spring quarter ended in early June, so had that to keep my mind busy and everything that comes with that, along with my training and any other professional commitments. But for the most part, I just have been focusing on school and training, and I have a really great support system around me that they all help me manage my day-to-day life, and I'm really grateful for that.
As a follow-up, would you like to see NCAA rules shifted so swimmers like yourself don't have to make that decision between continuing to compete at the college level and turning pro?
I don't really have a strong opinion on that. I think I really benefited from the NCAA experience, and that was a choice that I made. It wasn't really even a choice that I felt like I had to make. I really wanted to compete in NCAA, and so it wasn't like I was weighing the two options. It was that I wanted to swim NCAA, and so I did that, and I knew what came with that. And I knew that hopefully I could compete professionally sometime in the future. And Greg was very supportive of whatever decisions I wanted to make, and I knew that that would be a mutual discussion and something that we would agree on and that he would continue to be supportive of. So I feel very fortunate to have competed in the NCAA for 2 years and to have won 2 NCAA championships with 2 incredible Stanford teams. And it's just an honor to be a student athlete at Stanford and to still be able to train with that team and with some of those swimmers. I think a few of them are going to have some really breakthrough meets here this weekend, and that's going to be fun to see. And it's been fun to be part of their journeys as well, and they've really had an impact on me as well.
Dan?
Dan Albano with the Orange County Register. Katie, are you motivated to try to be a positive light for swimming right now, where there's been some controversies, that the sport's dealing with, and how do you feel, your sport, swimming, is, what kind of state of it is right now?
Well, I'm not trying to be a negative for the sport of swimming, that's for sure. I think all of us that are here this weekend, we're just trying to do our best, and hopefully that inspires young kids to start swimming, or maybe it inspires a young kid in the stands that's already swimming to pursue the sport further or to dream of going to the Olympics. I know that as a young kid growing up, I really looked up to some of these swimmers and was motivated to continue to do what I loved in swimming and set high goals and not be afraid to go chase them. So I hope that all of us here are a positive light and are good role models for the young kids in the stands that are cheering us on. And I'm confident that our sport is going to continue to grow, and I hope that there are a lot more positive things that come from USA Swimming, because there are some really great people in the sport and in USA Swimming, and I think the focus should really be on all the positive things that are going to come this week.
And just to follow up, do you have any specific goals that you could share as far as the pool this week that you have?
Make the PAMPAX team, I guess. That's as much as I'm going to share. I think, my focus is kind of on both of the meets, first making the PAMPAX team, and then hopefully having some good swims this week too. I'm not just thinking about trying to make the PAMPAX team. I have higher goals for myself than that, but I want to be my best this summer at PAMPAX, but if it's kind of split between these 2 meets and some of my best swims are at this meet and some of them are at PAMPAX, I'll take that too. So it's just about, as I said, putting together the best races that I can at the given moment. I think that's what I've always done. I think whether it's a Pro Swim Series meet, a local meet, an age group meet in Texas, I'm going to put up the very best swim that I can at that time. It doesn't matter if it's called nationals or called the Twist age group senior whatever meet in 2014 when I broke those records. So it's just a matter of getting behind the blocks, getting my mind straight, doing the best warm-up that I can to dive in and swim the very best race that I can.
Katie. Go ahead, Beth.
Beth Harris, AP. Not to be Debbie Downer, but what was your reaction to the suspension handed down to Ryan yesterday?
Yeah, it's disappointing that Ryan's not going to be here, and it's an interesting situation. And I think that being said, I really respect USADA and WADA and the rules and regulations that we have in our sport, and it's something that I don't know all the details on. I know as much as you all know about it, and I think it wouldn't really be fair for me to comment much further on that.
Just to follow up, some of your teammates who've come in earlier in the day did note that they feel that the U.S. athletes are held to a very high standard by USADA, whereas maybe some other countries are a little bit more interested in protecting the athlete than the integrity of the sport. Do you have a thought along those lines?
Yeah, I mean, I think here in the US and certainly within USA Swimming, I can speak for it that we haven't had many of these cases recently, which is a great thing given that most of our athletes are competing clean and haven't had positive tests like this, or are in situations like Ryan is in. But you know, we've seen it a little more on the world stage in various parts of the world, and we all hope that athletes are competing cleaner than they have been the last couple of years, and we're hoping that FINA and WADA and USADA will continue to push and continue to test athletes very frequently. You know, we know that we're tested by USADA and WADA, and you can go online and find the statistics about how many times we're tested, and I don't know if we can do that about other countries and know how much they're testing certain athletes, or how much they're punishing athletes, or if they're doing it the right way, whether the sentences that they're giving their athletes are the right ones. But I hope that, you know, that we can continue to push for clean sport, because that's really important to me, and I think we all dream of the day when we can get up on the blocks and know that we're competing against completely clean athletes.
With David in the neck. Katie, you mentioned some of your Stanford teammates that you expect big things here. Obviously, people expected a lot of big things out of Ella, but has not gone her way the past 2 weeks getting sick. So how is she, and what's it been like to kind of watch her go through this right on the eve of what's supposed to be, you know, a big meet for her?
Yeah, I'm not going to speak to how well Ella's doing, because she's the only one that really knows that, but what I can tell you is she's been extremely positive and has been doing the very best she can to put herself in a great position for this weekend, and I think, you know,